One thing I mentioned yesterday in my video was about surrounding myself with women who encourage other women and how I feel like that's a super important part of this year of no plans that has allowed me to continue going even when the road seems bleak. And with women encouraging women, I realized how many relationships I've had to withdraw from because they weren't encouraging, they weren't helpful, if anything, they were tearing me down, sometimes in subtle ways and sometimes in very very obvious ways. And I think it's a subject that women should talk about more, especially in the workplace, because I find that when we're working together, especially in industries like hospitality, yachting, travel, I think oftentimes there's sometimes so few women in a certain industry or in a certain position that we feel like we're in competition with each other. And really, I think the more we encourage each other to keep going and keep getting better and being good leaders, the more we'll break more women into those industries and into those roles that they are essentially wanting. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Katie. I've been documenting this year of no plans since the beginning of January, taking you through breaking patterns I've noticed in my careers and in my relationships, habits I'm trying to untangle, and living a life that I feel I want to live and not a life that I was told I need to live. And so thank you for being here. And I want to just dive right into a story of a friend I had for a few years. I think that this person is magnificent in all these wonderful, beautiful ways. She was gorgeous. She was talented. She is gorgeous. She is talented. She is tough. She's strong. She helped me get through quite a few hard times. And also, I could tell she was going through a lot of hard times herself. And so naturally, I fell into this role of trying to help her see that how amazing she is, how talented she is, how incredible of a woman she is, and to encourage her to follow some dreams and desires and things that she had talked about once we became friends. And it wasn't an easy friendship. There was a lot of misunderstandings, I want to say, and also a level of fear. There was a level of fear in training me and raising me up to be a very good person in that industry, in my job and in my role, because there's a fear of being replaced. And I think in a lot of jobs I've worked in hospitality, there's this very real fear, especially with women, of being replaced, because there's not a lot of positions that we have been able to really rise into. And so when you start rising to the top and you see that there's only one woman director in a hotel full of directors, they're all male except one, it starts to feel like, well, that's the only role that I can fill. And so instead of, rising them up maybe in a different sector of the hospitality, I think a lot of women feel like the more you train and teach someone to become a leader themselves, you're worried they're going to replace you in that position. And so as I was getting better, as I was improving, there was a lot of heartbreak. There was a lot of not words of encouragement. And this is the moment, this is the career that really showed me that I need encouragement from women. I need women to believe in me. I need women to see what it is I'm trying to accomplish and back me in that. And I know for a lot of my life, my dreams and hopes and visions have not always been clear. And so I've never had a lot of support because I feel like, yeah, just being misunderstood. And so in this particular industry, I was starting to get really good at my job and really leveling up. And in the midst of that, getting a lot of negative feedback. Again, it was hard because we were friends on one hand, and then on the other hand, she was my mentor, she was my leader, and I feel like I was put down quite a bit. I feel like I was told I wasn't good enough, I wasn't fast enough, I wasn't essentially worthy enough to lead my own team eventually one day. And in the meantime, hearing stories of, as her friend, hearing stories of struggle and hearing stories of some things I went through in my past and trying to guide her through that and be encouraging to her, and then on the flip side of it, feeling discouraged in my own job by the same person. So there was this imbalance. There was this imbalance of power, and then also this imbalance of desire, I think, to bring me up to the level that I wanted to be. And to be fair, to be honest, when I started, I didn't want to be in a leadership role. I didn't want to run my own team. I just wanted to be the peon. However, I was bringing so much value that I wanted to be compensated for that value. So that part was hard. And anyway, as the years went on and our roles at work, like we no longer worked together, I quit that position and was looking for something more aligned with what I wanted to do. We continued to be friends and we continued to have that friendship, but I later went back to help in the role, in that position that I had left, and essentially took what would have been her job in that role, and it really hurt her. It really struck a nerve with her, I think, because there's that desire, this competition among women where you don't want to train your replacement. You might want to train them to then take a role elsewhere. And it just so happened that I eventually was good enough to take a role, and I ended up coming back to help her position out. And it caused a big rift between us, and it actually was the catalyst to our friendship ending. However, as I looked back on that friendship, I remember saying to this person one day, I was like, I just need you to encourage me. I just need you to like vote for me, want better for me. Because at the time I wasn't trying to be trained in the position that I ended up taking over for her. I wanted to actually do something kind of totally different, but I kept getting this like, well, that's just not a thing. That's just not a position, and I'm like, well, if it's not a position, then let's create it. Let's create a position in this industry. And it was like, well, that's just not how it works. And just getting a lot of discouragement. And so, yeah, the end of our friendship was essentially because I had gone back to work the position that she was working. And I can see from her point of view, it probably felt or looked like a little bit of a betrayal. And I don't deny that that's a valid feeling, and that's a valid feeling to have. Although it wasn't my intention to be a replacement, I was more trying to just find my way and find work and find what I was good at versus what I really wanted to do. And it keeps coming back to this for me, where it's like what I am really good at isn't always what I want to do. I'm really good at spreadsheets and bookkeeping and admin and things like that. And I don't really want to do those things, and yet the positions I want to do and be good at, it's hard to get paid doing them. So I'm still wandering this life trying to figure out how to make this all work, and feeling very alone in it because of these friendships I tried to build and these trying to be an encouraging person and encourage other people to follow their dreams, and at the same time not feeling encouraged back and not feeling like I had the support in return. And again, like so many factors happened that led us to that point. It wasn't just about work and taking over a job that was hers. There were so many other factors at play, and it just really made me feel like as a woman, we're so aware of just other things that are going on. I think sometimes, I've actually heard this from my male friends. You can walk into work and they're mad. And a man will tell you he's mad about X. It's not XYZ, ABC, like 10 things going on. Whereas with women, there's usually like a whole gamut of things playing into our lives, and being able to recognize all those things and being able to talk about all of them and try to create a safe space and a safe place for women to talk about it, I think is a gift. And I really tried to use my gift to help this person, and I thought I did, and instead I was made to feel like I was the bad guy, I was the villain, and it kind of made me for a few years really doubt my gifts in that area and really pull back on, like, I'll still encourage women 100% and help them, but it's almost like I try to make sure that I have nothing to gain from it, because then it could be flipped on me and told that the only reason I encourage them, or the only reason that I wanted them to, move on to another job or another position or whatever, was to take theirs from them. And so now I'm so like kind of jaded from that experience that I only really offer help and encourage women who I have nothing to gain from. And now that I'm saying that out loud, it's making me realize, I think this is why it's really hard for me to charge for services oftentimes, because I feel like yeah, this is just something, helpful advice I can offer or helpful guidance I can offer. I don't want to earn from it, because then it's something that you can say I only did because I could gain from it. So there's something there I need to unpack a little bit and go through. But my general feeling and wanting to share this story is that there's so many jobs I've had where I've been discouraged from going for what I want. I've been discouraged from even thinking that 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 avenue or that role or that position or that dream is even possible. So many people, oh, it's not possible, just don't do it. And I would really love more women out there to be so freaking delusional about what's possible that it starts to become possible, because we're now encouraging others to go for the dream, to go for the position, to create the position, to fight for it, to market it, to teach others how to be that position, how to do the job, and then lead more and more and more people into these roles that I think are so important. And yeah, just being there for each other, supporting each other, telling each other it's possible. Even if you can't see that it's possible, just telling someone, like, whatever you dream is possible. You just have to be so, I've been hearing this lately, be so delusional about making it happen that it becomes, it ends up happening because you're just so committed and so wanting it. I know that was kind of a ramble. I've been processing quite a bit in real time. So when I make these videos, I come with something that I've been thinking about, that's on my heart, that's on my mind, and I want to talk about it, and I want to put it out there. And it's not always a fully formulated thought. Like, I never want this to look or feel scripted, because it's not. I'm not scripting any of this. I'm not following a teleprompter. And I've been doing that on purpose because I want to be as authentic and real in these conversations that I can be, because I'm missing that in my life. I'm missing conversations with people where you start with one subject and you talk about all these things, and then it kind of rolls into another subject and another subject and another subject. And it's not this, lesson. I'm not trying to teach you a lesson. I'm not trying to convince you to have the same opinion as me. It's more just going through the motions and emotions of having these realizations, talking about it, and offering the opportunity in the comments for other people to share their stories. Did you have a friendship breakup because of something maybe trivial or silly? Was it because someone was discouraging you instead of encouraging you? Like, I would love to hear, anyone's experience in that realm, that field of having to let someone go, even though you truly love them. But yeah, having the realization that they're not supporting you in your life or encouraging you in your life, even though you've tried your best to encourage and support them in their life. So yeah, I would just love to hear from you and find out what you are thinking. And I so appreciate you being here and watching these videos. And please subscribe for more. I'll talk to you next time.